Yeah, a lot of guys in your position, they would ride that Johnny Polo WWF TV wave for 10 years on the indies. You always see those guys. What made you do this just the opposite and reinvent yourself?
Because I wanted to be a star. You know, I wanted to make money and be a star, and Johnny Polo wasn't going to do it. And no, nor did I like being Johnny Polo. I mean, I didn't mind. Like, it's not what I would have chosen for myself, but I tried to make the most of it. So when people told me they find it entertaining, I take it as a big compliment because I went out of my way to make it entertaining. But it's not what I was looking to be, or do. You only get one life, so you ought to try and do it the way you want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. What inspired you to go the Raven direction as far as the character?
Um, DDP suggested. He goes. He looked at the way I looked at that point, and I was like one of the first people to grow out their mullets. You know what I mean? I was one of the first people to have long hair all the way around instead of a mullet, and uh, and I look kind of grungy anyway, and he hadn't seen me in a while, and he goes, "You ought to be like those." You remind me. He goes, "You remind me of those Red Hot Chili Pepper dudes in the movie Point Break." And I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, you ought to do something like that." And that just put me in the headset. It got me into the Raven thing.
And did you immediately pitch it to Paul? Did you? Because a character like Raven, you need TV.
Right? Yeah, I know I needed TV, so I was planning on going to work for Cornette. Cornette kept telling me he's going to bring me in, but kept pushing it back. And so in the meantime, I was living in Philly because that's where the central hub for all the independent wrestling. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so what was I saying? Oh yeah. So hang on, let me drink some water. Water, as we say in Philadelphia. Yeah. So I was living in Philadelphia, which is the most central spot to get independent bookings. The South Jersey, Philadelphia area.
Right.
And the yeah. So I saw. So one day I'm sitting at home and I'm watching TV, and ECW comes on, and I saw it, and all I'd ever heard was it was garbage wrestling and this and that. When I finally watched the show, it was the most exciting show I'd ever seen. I said, I got
Right.
to be a part of that. So I called DDP up and I said, hey, guy, you can call on a favor at Paulie, get me on that show. And so he sold Paulie on the idea, but Paulie thought it was going to be like a Memphis, like a comedy version of what Raven is.
Right.
And that's what he thought. So he said, all right, I'll bring him in for 3 months. I'll use Naked Dreamer over. And then when he first saw the first promo I did for him, and the whole look and the whole everything, which I already wore the look anyway, so it wasn't a change really for me. Um, he totally vibed on it and immediately saw, like, all bookers see themselves through wrestlers' eyes, and Paulie used to see himself through Raven and Dreamer's eyes. Like Vince used to see himself through the narcissist Lex Luger. He was patriotic. Vince is a patriot.
Mhm.
Or thought he was a patriot or whatever. He was a patriot. Or he's patriotic, muscular. You know what I mean? And Dusty saw himself through. Well, Dusty saw himself through Dusty, I guess.
Right.
But you know what I mean, though.
Right.
Like, and so, but all bookers see themselves through a certain wrestler's eyes, and they always create one that vibes with them. Like Dusty came up with PN News, and that was a Dusty, so Dusty-ish, rapping, you know, large guy, the whole night. Didn't turn out like he hoped, but just
Mhm.
for an example,
How'd you get along with Paul?
we get along really well. I should drive him nuts though, but we get along really well though, which I'm glad. I always liked Paulie. I never had problems with Paulie's behavior. Like, everybody always talks shit, but, you know, I always liked Paulie.
Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to plug if promoters want to
Uh,
reach you?
My podcast, the Raven Effect podcast. You can find it wherever you find a podcast. It's not really wrestling based. It's wrestling adjacent, I call it. It it's just me and a couple guys that are wrestling. One guy was a commentator um, with Rich Bikini, and another guy, Joe Feeney, is he's also on Conan's podcast as a third wheel,
Hmm.
and we just talk bullshit, just call it to whatever pops up in our heads, and it's really entertaining because it's funny and it's absurd, and yeah, I refuse to allow it to get too serious about anything. I'm just not a serious person. I hate being serious. You
And
know.
you're gonna be in Jersey on uh, Saturday, September 27th at the Parsippany PAL for 90s Con. You can go to 90scon.com for all the information. Raven will be there. Saturn will be there. Trying to think who else.
Oh,
Adam Bomb will be there. Who else? Steve
also,
Blackman will be there. Yeah, there'll be a lot of
also
guys
look
there.
out for my document. Some guy made a documentary about me that's
Okay.
going to be released soon. So look out for that. It's called The Raven Effect.
Awesome.
The Raven Effect, Nevermore, I think is what it's called, and that should be coming out soon.